Welcome to the Retail Insider video interview series. I'm your host, Craig Patterson, and we're joined here today with a special guest. This is Leo Martinez. He's the Senior Program Director for eTail Toronto, a conference that's coming up on September 25th and the 26th. Welcome, Leo.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you for having me. And hello, everyone.
Now, Leo, can you start by telling us a little bit about eTail Toronto, what it's about, what makes it unique compared to other e-commerce conferences?
So eTail Toronto is part of the eTail family of branded events, right? It is a retail e-commerce conference. We are going to be convening over 300 attendees next month, over 75 speakers across 2 days of content on September the 25th and the 26th at the Hyatt Regency Toronto. It is an event that's by retailers for retailers. So what I mean by that is that we actually interview executives in the field who are doing the work in terms of, what keeps them up at night, what opportunities do they see in the industry, what are their challenges as well. From a content perspective, we make sure that there's no fluff on our agendas, no high-level overview type of sessions. So again, the folks who are actually in the trenches doing the work, we want to make sure that when you attend eTail Toronto, you're living away with practical solutions and actionable insights when you return back into the office. Now, what makes eTail Toronto unique and not just a conference is that ultimately, at the end of the day, eTail is a community. There are countless stories, Craig, that I can share with you of speakers and attendees who have grown with eTail throughout the years, right? I also have grown with eTail throughout the years. 9 years ago, I was a production assistant for eTail Toronto. Now I'm the senior program director for the event, right? But yeah, I mean, it's a community. For me, it's also very important and good to see new faces at the event each year, but also those familiar faces, right? So I think that's what definitely is part of the recipe of success for eTail Toronto, that it is a community. We've been around since 1999. We've been with our attendees through the whole .com bubble in early 2000s, right? The introduction of Amazon Prime in 2005, the economic recession of 2008, the whole global pandemic that we just went through. I mean, eTail has been through it and with it with our community, and that is why it's unique, and that's part of the reason why we've seen e-commerce events come and go, but eTail has been around for now 25 years and going. So definitely excited for this year's program.
Do we want to talk about any key speakers? I had a look, and there's some from some pretty big retailers and other companies in Canada.
Absolutely. I mean, there are several to mention, but just quickly off the top of my head, we have Ilara Verrett, who's the Chief Digital and Customer Officer of Vitamins, coming in. She'll be doing a keynote on day one. We also have Austin Banasco from Canada Goose, the Global Digital Marketing Lead at that company. We have Scott Adele, the Associate Vice President of Digital Retail Experience from Canadian Tire. Brendan Arnold as well, who is Associate Vice President of Brand Management for Sherwood Hockey. Lisa Mazurkowicz from Subway Canada. Jessica Gale, Chief Customer Officer of Harry Rawson, and of course also Tracy Cook, who's one of our most recent additions. Tracy Cook is a Chief Marketing Officer for Nestle Canada, as well as Leslie Golds, who just joined the program, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of Fruits Canada. So a lot of great speakers, over 75 speakers. Definitely excited around the bus for the event next month.
That's an amazing roster. Can you tell us about some of the main themes and topics that we'll see at eTail Toronto this year?
Absolutely. So for day one, the main theme is all around the connected customer journey, right? Meeting the customers where they are across all channels, from digital to in-store. In-store is back. Physical retail is very important nowadays for the consumer. Along with day one theme of the connected customer journey, we're also talking about digital transformation. How are you as a team upscaling your talent internally to meet the needs of the customer, and how you're also building a best-in-class e-commerce technology stack? And of course, the elephant in the room that's been for the last 2 years or so is all around AI, right? Our approach for AI this year, Craig, it's not going to be around high-level overview as to what AI is, what is it doing in terms of disrupting the retail industry. Our approach instead is going to be actual use cases, right? What are these brands and retailers doing to actually optimize the customer experience by leveraging human-centric AI, right? So a lot of the speakers and attendees from last year requested that for this year's program, we focus on those actionable insights and those actual use cases in developing the conference for this year. For day two, the main theme is all around meeting the needs of the modern consumer, storytelling, purpose-led brands, establishing those meaningful connections with the customer is very important. Social commerce, creating shoppable content across Instagram, TikTok as well. And of course, along with meeting the needs of the modern consumer, we cannot forget about the importance of sustainability in retail and how sustainability efforts can also help build the brand value as well.
Amazing. Are there any special sessions or anything that's an absolute must attend for visitors?
Several. I will say for day one, we have a keynote panel discussion on empowering the consumer with human-centric AI. There's also a keynote presentation from Sherwood Hockey on reinventing a legacy brand, right? Very, very important nowadays, especially with a lot of brands coming in, popping up frequently. So it's very important to be innovative for brands nowadays to keep going. And then we also have an industry outlook session being presented by eMarketer on Canada's e-commerce marketplace. And we also have panel discussions around retail media, designing the future omnichannel experience. On day two, we have a powerhouse of a woman of retail panel discussion with some of the folks I just mentioned before. Ashley Boyce, who's the Chief Marketing Officer of Proven Skincare Noteworthy, Leslie Goltz, the Chief Marketing Officer of Roots Canada, Jessica Gell, Chief Customer Officer of Harry Rawson, and Tracy Cook, who's the Chief Marketing Officer of Nestle Canada as well. So a lot of great content, a lot of excitement, but I will say across both days of the conference, whether we're talking about AI, digital transformation, retail media, storytelling, sustainability, the overarching theme for both days of the conference this year, Craig, is all around personalization. How do you personalize the customer experience is so critical nowadays, especially because you have a lot of social media fatigue, right? From the consumer standpoint. Mixing that with cost-conscious consumers due to inflation, right? I mentioned before the amount of brands are coming into the picture nowadays, so the rising competition. Personalizing the customer journey is ever so critical for a lot of the brands and retailers, and that is going to be the overarching theme for the conference this year.
That's terrific. That is so interesting because we are seeing things change. There'll be a lot of interesting topics and probably a lot of really interesting people there as well. Can you tell us a little bit about the networking opportunities that are available, among attendees?
We have over 10 hours of networking time across both days, right? We do have gathering, connecting meetups. These are structured networking activities for folks who are like-minded in terms of AI and retail, social commerce. We have women in retail meetups as well, and a meetup for Gen Zers as well. And new this year, a meetup for first timers, right? So any folks who are new to the conference, to eTail Toronto, who want to definitely leverage the most of the networking time available across both days of the conference, that is your meetup to attend, to get able to network, meet new people, and at the same time maximize the time that you have on site. And beyond the meetups, I will say we also have roundtable discussions, which are very popular for eTail Toronto. We do have private events across both days of the conference that include a whiskey tasting. We do have a woman of retail retreat, private lunches as well, networking breaks across both days, including a disco reception at the end of day one. And obviously, we cannot forget, when it comes to networking, definitely encourage attendees to leverage as much as possible the mobile app to directly message people and connect via LinkedIn as well.
Terrific. Now, there's going to be some exhibitors and sponsors in the conference. Tell me a bit about their contribution to the event, and is anything notable about that?
Well, the sponsors are definitely absolutely critical in terms of helping shape the agenda. The 6-month research process that I mentioned in the beginning, they take part of that, right? I meet with them, we do research calls in the first 3 to 4 months of the development process for the conference, because it is important for us to have a balanced perspective, Craig, in terms of what the retailers are seeing in terms of opportunities, trends, and challenges, but also the reality from a solution provider standpoint. To give you an example, when it comes to AI, and talking to a lot of solution providers early on in the research process, they were like, oh, Leo, there's a lot of excitement around AI. However, a lot of the retailers don't even have the ecosystem in place to even adopt AI. There's several retailers and brands out there who already have AI in across their e-commerce technology stack. They're just not really aware of it. So there's a whole education process from a solution provider working with a retailer. And for us to make sure that we're capturing that in our content and having that balanced perspective is absolutely important. And that's why sponsors are definitely key in helping shape the agenda. Beyond the agenda, they're also important because they help us optimize the on-site experience in the expo halls, having private tastings, activities throughout the conference. So definitely an important partner for the eTail brand.
Absolutely. Now, I've been to eTail Canada. I've been to a number of conferences before over the last few years. But for those who are attending for the first time, what would you suggest people do to get the most out of that experience?
Well, I definitely recommend the week before the conference, just taking some time to review the agenda and download the mobile app and just schedule the sessions that you do want to attend, right? Beyond that, at the same time, is making sure that you do participate in the first timers meetup that I mentioned early on. It's going to be held on day one during the first morning break, right? We will have staff there on site as well, just helping you move around, helping you network with people as well. But it's good for you to build those relationships and maintain those relationships after the conference takes place. Beyond the first timers meetup, I would also recommend the roundtable discussions. That's where you're able to actually take a deep dive into pressing topics, but not only voice your perspectives on these topics, but at the same time hear other people's perspectives as well, right? And be able to build your Rolodex of contacts and further your network when you leave the conference as well.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to attending eTail Toronto coming up here. It's going to be at the Hyatt Regency Hotel on King Street, September 25th and 26th. Definitely attend. Check out the website. We're going to have these things in our show notes here. So I wanted to say thank you so much today to Leo Martinez. You're the Senior Program Director at eTail Toronto.
Thank you, Craig, and thank you, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you all next month at eTail Toronto.
And I'm Craig Patterson. I'm the founder and publisher of Retail Insider, as well as the host of the Retail Insider video interview series. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already on whatever channel you're consuming this on. Take care and bye for now.